The vehicle is called Project Safari, and you could describe it as a reimagined version of a Lotus Elise. So we take an Elise S1 and we go back to basics and go, actually, how do we make this more fun?
Hi everyone, welcome to the Car Chat podcast. I'm Sam Moores, and today in a studio, not really a studio, a room, I have George Williams. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
This is probably the second podcast we've done, I think.
Yeah, it is.
We did one we were talking about a couple of years ago. Covered a lot of your sort of photography, a lot of photography chat, background, how you got into being a commercial photographer. Is that how you would brand yourself on that front?
Yeah, a commercial car photographer.
Yeah. And you called me up the other day and said, I've got a project. I think it's probably more than that now, but like a project I'm working on that might be interesting. This was quite a few months ago now. And I thought we'd come in and have a little bit of a chat.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? Where did this begin?
Okay. So some people may have seen on the internet, about a month ago, depends when this comes out, maybe more, there was what could be described as a lifted Lotus Elise S1 that we launched. Our company is called Get Lost, which I think is a bit of fun.
Yeah.
And we're playing into that with the attitude of the company. We're not taking ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
But the vehicle is called Project Safari, and you could describe it as a reimagined version of a Lotus Elise. So we take an Elise S1 and we go back to basics and go, actually, how do we make this more fun? How do we make this without restriction of when you're building a new car and regulations that are issues of registering, etc.
Right.
How do we go and make this more interesting and fun without trying to be too serious? And like, how do we make this silly? That's ultimately what it comes down to. And
so where did this journey start? Like, what got you into whether it was why a Lotus and why silly? And
it probably needs a bit of a description of what I've done for the last 15 years of my life. I'm a commercial car photographer. I've worked for lots of different brands, but I kind of specialise doing the more bespoke brands, the Resto-Mod companies, the hypercars.
Yeah.
And I haven't deliberately pushed myself in that direction, but I love that kind of car. I really appreciate the engineering details, the design, and capturing it and understanding it. So to me, that's really important. Yeah. So I have experienced what I would describe as pretty much all the cars in the industry, whether driving or shooting, or like meeting the designers, meeting the lead engineers on a lot of these cars.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of very good things out there. There's also some bad things out there.
Yeah.
And I saw opportunity for something where we go, actually, let's just have some fun. Like, let's create something interesting. And like, as a photographer, I'm looking for other avenues of a career, longer term, which we'll get into a bit later, I'm sure. But I love things like the Dakar, the Sterato, and the ability they have to just go anywhere without restriction.
Yeah.
To me, that's really interesting.
And we've done quite a few road trips as photographers
and a few silly ones.
And some silly ones together. And normally on those ones, someone is taking something that maybe shouldn't be somewhere to a place. We've done quite a few in the snow and some in the sand.
Yes.
Normally, if I look back, I remember you had a Caterham for a long time, I think, and took that quite long distances.
My biggest road trip in that is I drove it from effectively London to Croatia and back. And it was really enjoyable going there. It was really unenjoyable when I realised I had to come back.
There is something in that, isn't it? When you are driving somewhere on a road trip, the journey out normally just feels great. And the journey back is, I want to be home now.
Yeah. And that car is about as extreme a car as you want to take on a road trip. Although I felt better the whole time because I did it with someone who was in an aerial atom. So whenever it rained, I just put my little roof on and only got a little bit wet. He got soaked and it was horrible.
So, okay. Your journey with Lotus as well. You have had an Exige.
Yes. So I've owned a Lotus Exige V6. Which is their last generation of the Exige, for nearly 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, last time we spoke, it was as I was doing a project to effectively fully rebuild the car. And I didn't do it because of any crash damage or anything like that. I did it because I wanted a project.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to see how far I could take that platform. And I think most people will agree it went quite a long way.
Yeah.
It's one of the most extreme looking, at least, Exiges out there. And the quality which I achieved, I'm quite proud of. Things like we've got tinted carbon on it and like everything fits really well.
I remember early days of you doing this project. And it was, I think this is obviously part of your nature as, like, if you're a commercial automotive photographer, you've got to be into details.
Yeah.
And I remember you playing around, I think it was with, is it air vents? Have you got the air vents from like an F12 or something like that in there?
I do, yes. And they didn't remotely fit. So I made them fit. And that involved a lot of cutting and etc. And that was the original approach of the Exige that's led me to where I am now.
Yeah.
I know how to do things properly now. I involve the right people when I need to, which is quite a key skill to know how to do. I can't do everything, and there's some very talented people out there who can.
Yeah, what would you say are the big learnings from that car that just generally in how you're doing stuff? Are you saying getting other people involved?
Yeah, there's like I can come up with ideas, and I can visualize how things want to be. And I used to use Photoshop for that to go, I wonder what this will look like if I extend this or do this design feature. And then I would either take it to a trimmer or take it to a painter and find the best people I can for that.
Yeah.
And they would hide my sins of how I'd done the bodges underneath. Nowadays, I will do things in CAD to visualize it.
Okay.
And I've taught myself CAD very, very quickly. And I'm not amazing, but I'm able to design parts, which is quite nice. And then we can prototype them with 3D printing and other manufacturing techniques and CNC where needed. So it's all come on quite a long way quite quickly. And if it's out of my skill set, I go to other people that can do better CAD and like make sure things fit with tolerances as they should, etc.
And in terms of like redesigning stuff now, do you take the existing part, scan it, and then mess with it? Yeah,
we've been doing a lot of, for Get Lost, we've done a lot of 3D scanning. And that was basically how we started the project, was get a donor car and 3D scan. For the Exige, I was doing things like extending body lines with filler and fiberglass and that kind of thing, which has its limitations. So it's a big learning curve of how to do the proper process.
And before you started, like you have spent, as you say, like your sort of specialty, your niche has been in these sort of all sorts of manufacturers, but particularly like high-end, small, doing kind of crazy stuff. Do you think that's been a key part for you of your learning? So like you get to spend a bit of like drop in to a lot of these different places and sort of go, I like the way they do that. Not sure about that.
Yeah, and it's probably a bit like you with podcasting, where you understand a lot about lots of different things very quickly. And I'm very lucky to have that experience. Like people will explain things to me, and I actually have to be quite careful that I don't become a conflict with Get Lost in any way to any of my photography clients. So that's one of the reasons that the whole thing is pitched as being very silly. Because it doesn't really become a competitor to people. if we're just doing our own thing and being stupid.
Yeah, and I guess like before Get Lost was around, that's it. It was a bit like the podcast. You can go, and because you're not a competitor, you're not doing anything that's similar. You're a photographer. You're like,
I'm
photos?
trying to help people at the end of the day. That's how I see it. I want to understand every element of the car I'm going to shoot, from design to engineering to everything underneath it. So that when I then photograph it, I photograph it in a way that shows it off in its best light. And I understand the importance of design within that. And a lot of people, they kind of think of just themselves when they do cars and don't think about how other people are going to use it, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And the design is so important, and Get Lost has been very design first.
Yeah.
And that's not to say there's not engineering, because it's really hard to do what we've done. And there's a lot going on beneath the skin.
Yeah.
But there was also massive visual things that were visual-led decisions. I should probably step back a little bit. One of the big reasons that I wanted to do a lifted Lotus as well.
Yeah.
I love lightweight cars. I grew up with Caterhams. My dad had them. I then had my own Caterhams. I had a VX220, and then I had the Exige, which I still have because I love it. But the Exige, it's quite low. It's quite race car-y now. And in fact, as I pulled onto the driveway today, annoyingly, the wheel hit into the arch again for probably the 5th time. And it just gets a bit tiresome having to worry about bumps, and like the roads in England are rubbish.
And yeah, weirdly, it's literally driveways. Like, I think
it's driveways, it's speed bumps, it's potholes,
it's all the stuff.
Like, it's just constant. I drive that car loads still. I'm nearly 80,000 miles in it, which is quite good going, I think.
That is good going.
And I still just take it for no reason at all, just because I like driving.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to create, a car with Get Lost that enables that even more. So it's an experience. It just puts a smile on your face, but also other people's.
Yeah. And so why Elise, what is it, Series 1?
There's several reasons. For a start, it's 25 years old now, which has its benefits for America.
Okay. They can have them.
I was looking into potentially moving to Los Angeles at some point, and I would still potentially love to one day, or maybe live between England and LA, just because I love how the culture is there with cars. So that was a consideration. Just my Exige can't go out there legally for many, many, many years.
And would that stop you moving because you can't take the Exige?
No, because I can still send it every year, which would probably be the solution.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, having driven Project Safari a little bit, and not massively in anger yet because we're building things up with development, I think it's going to be more fun. So the car, the base Elise is about 700 kilos.
Yeah.
My Exige is 1100. That's a big old weight difference.
It is.
And you feel it massively in things like the steering and compliance of the car. And when you then increase suspension travel, you have the benefit of much better ride quality. It just floats over bumps, and you don't feel the rubbish, horrible potholey stuff. Yeah. You do feel the bits you want to, which is quite nice. And it takes a lot of work to get to that stage.
Is it? So then is there that thing? Because you hold steering wheel in certain cars and you feel the road, but at the same time you don't want to feel every...
Your GT3 RS is probably the best example of steering of pretty much any car, that or a Lotus Evora, where it's hydraulic and it filters out the rubbish stuff and you keep the good stuff.
Yeah.
That's what we're aiming towards. My Exige, I feel the bad stuff still. It's got bump steer and...
Yeah, it's quite intense.
Yeah, it's exhausting. Especially today in the rain. And
I was like, you were saying, I could bring the Exige. And mine, I was like, just bring whatever you want. It doesn't matter. It's an audio and video if you want to watch the video podcast, but the car is not in it. It was cool to see though.
Yeah.
Shame about the wheel arch.
A bit annoying.
So, okay, this process, how did... you go about starting? How did the project start? What was the process? And I know we're quite far down now. I don't know how long we've got to go, but we're quite far in.
Yeah. So obviously we have now launched. That car is a prototype phase still. There's a lot of work to do to get it to how it needs to be. I've shot so many cars that are finished. I know how it needs to be, but also it is quite normal to be at this phase when you launch.
Yeah.
We haven't announced any of the technical details. We have someone else helping us along the way who's a mutual friend, who's very kindly financially making it possible, which makes a big difference. But we haven't ordered orders, and we haven't given the technical spec in detail yet, because I want to have put a serious number of miles on the car before I tell people this is amazing. Like, it needs to be as good as I would want it to be if I was spending my own money on it.
Yeah.
Which I kind of am. It's the next stages are the really, really hard bit. The actual design elements and getting it to launch, we actually did quite quickly. And we did it.
What was the sort of timeline on that?
We bought the car in December last year.
Yeah.
And when did we do launch? April, May?
Yeah.
So it was very, very quick. And that's with bespoke suspension.
And with those, before you bought the car, had you like mapped out all that stuff?
Yeah, I'd done CAD, so I had an idea of the design. I kind of like the Elise S1, the way it's a beach buggy type look as well.
Yeah.
But I also knew you're only as good as your worst component, and it needed some interesting stuff design-wise.
Yeah.
Because to me, design and kind of the way it integrates is how people feel like they're getting value for money before they even sit in the car.
Yeah, if you look at it and you don't go, I love it, well, you ain't going to buy it.
Yeah. It's that first impression's massive. And I think it went down really well at the launch,
Nice.
Which is a really nice sign. It was a lot of work to get, I basically didn't sleep since January. So
is that calming a little bit?
No. I wish.
I think it will.
Well, yeah, it's part of the process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I'm also obviously still a photographer, which
Yes.
is probably key to say to people, because I do still need to earn a living.
Yeah.
And until we take an order, I'm not making it, the company is just costing me money.
Yeah.
And
what do you think in terms of, so you put the car together, you've got it looking quite nice to a point. This is where you take some photos. How did you pick how deep to go in terms of all the elements? Like, I've spoken to loads of people that have made various builds of varying types, and you can, I'm not going to say pick a number, but you can pick a number of how much you want to spend on a car. And I'm aware that it's very easy to spend a lot of money, just working through all of the bits and however you go about it, whether it's custom looms and blah, 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 aircon and yada, yada, yada. How have you sort of declared a price range for the car?
We haven't announced
loosely?
it yet. I've got it in my mind of where more the build cost needs to be, because it is a business at the end of the day, which is very challenging. To me, it's so important that people get as much as possible for their money.
Yeah.
And actually, I want small margins so that I can create cars that people really love. Because if you get greedy on margin, and a lot of people do, you end up not building things properly, and you're cutting corners in places. So,
what sort of end of the Resto-Mod? We can call this a Resto-Mod. Yeah, spectrum.
The price point
Middle?
of Resto-Mods is getting a bit silly, if we're honest.
Yeah, you can spend what, 2 million quid now?
Yeah. And to be fair, when you spend 2 million quid, you get something that has full development to a level that a manufacturer would do.
Yeah.
like full emissions testing and safety testing and everything.
Yeah, your ABS has gone back to Bosch to be done for your car.
Yeah, it's all bespoke, every single component and bolt. I can't do that. It's still a Lotus Elise underneath, and I'm aware of that. I don't want to say the actual price, but it's going to be on the lower end of the scale, because I'm fully aware the usage case for the car is quite low. It's not the most practical.
Yeah.
But I'd also like to think that if it's alongside another car in your garage, you're going to take it because it will put the biggest smile on your face.
Yeah.
And it was quite interesting thinking about other cars. And I think the only thing that's really that close is a Nomad.
Mm-hmm.
And I had that thought process a while ago of trying to understand the Nomad and why do people not keep them?
That's a good question.
Because no one keeps them that long that I know. And to me, what I concluded is your touch points and the emotion that you get. And I know it sounds wishy-washy to say emotion of touch points, but things like the quality, it's plastic seats and like just metal tubes.
Yeah.
They can only be so bespoke. And yes, it's got the radio control car thing. And I'm not saying I don't like the Nomad because I think it's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
But they're hard to get in and out of.
This is true.
They don't have a proper roof, and if you put the roof on, they just leak, which hopefully my car won't as much. Yeah. And it like trying to create just that bit more usability. Like we can put a hard top on the car if we want to.
Yeah.
And creating a bespoke spec to every single person that buys one.
Yeah.
Has that special story, and to me, it's just got that bit extra. And then it's not just a car you can just go and buy easily.
Yeah.
Because we are building them to order, and we're not going to build that many.
Yeah, in an ideal world, you'd get to sing a level and you'd sell 500 or whatever, but that's still not very many cars.
To me, I wouldn't ever want to get to that level.
It's quite.
I see the whole market as a whole, and I don't want to go too much into analysing the whole market, but it's really important the number of vehicles people sell and how accessible it is to buy for the long term. Because if the car's just gonna poop money, no one's gonna buy it. Like, why would you buy a car that's just gonna lose loads of money? It's not enjoyable.
It's really not enjoyable. And I think even if you see yourself owning a car forever, if you think you're going to take an absolute bath on it, it will probably put you off, or it might steer you towards something else.
And to me, that then led on to my understanding of marketing and brand, etc. Made me realize the ones that lose the most money in the industry are the ones that people don't understand. So it's just, there's a difference to me between a modified car and a Resto-Mod.
Yeah.
And actually a lot of it is external people understanding what it is. So take a Singer Classic or a Tuttle 911K. People know what it is.
Yeah.
It could just be seen as a modified 911. Which it potentially used to be a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, a Resto-Mod is a modified car.
But because they have branded it in the right way, people understand it, and that's a key part in when you then come to sell it, if you ever want to. It retains its value better and the market opens up.
Yeah, I've found that. The one, as you know, I talked to lots of these people, and there was one guy. Occasionally, I agree and sort of set up and sign up to do, I'm not going to list a manufacturer or whatever, but like a Resto-Mod. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I don't know anything about this. I'm not sure anything about the person. It's partly why I think the podcasts, at least for me, are really interesting with those sorts of people, because you get an understanding of the person and why they're doing it. And often I'm surprised. I'm like, oh, right, no, you are like mad into this.
Yeah, but people don't understand the marketing, and therefore the general public don't understand that story.
Yes.
And it's really hard to tell your story to people.
And lining up your story, telling your story yourself is quite challenging. And then does your product fit with that story?
Yeah.
Or like you might have 3 products. One of them absolutely is like you down to a T, but they've gone oh, I think this one will sell better, so we're going to do that. And you're like, yeah, but the link.
Yeah. There's some companies that chase money, and I think it's such a passion-driven industry that they're massively irrational purchases,
Yes.
aren't they? Like,
They make no sense,
yeah.
but all of the sense.
Yeah. And also some people we know have bought these cars and like doubled their money.
Yeah.
Because they've been very shrewd with...
I know. You look at some of those, and I'm sure we know a lot of the same people. And you see a lot of people have I would say like serial Resto-Mod buyers, and have bought the one that's considered to be, I'd say, like hot at the time, or at least like at the top of the list, got on early, had one for 2 years, sold it, made some money, used that money, bought the next they're just on this rolling Resto-Mod train.
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it, I enjoy cars for that experience.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a person that drives the car loads. I obviously haven't had my Exige for value. I've lost a lot of money. I've spent a lot of money. But I have really enjoyed the process, which is why my decision to do that was.
Yeah.
And I think that's important as well, is like, the way I see it, even if the car loses lots of money, you should be left with a car that you really love, so it doesn't matter.
Yes. At the end of the day, if you are losing lots of money, at least you've enjoyed the process.
Yeah. And I think your GT3 RS, for example, if that was worth nothing, you wouldn't care.
No, and there's a small part of me
That would prefer it.
that would prefer it a little bit. Luckily, I'm with that one where I bought it at a value, and in my head, I try and just say it's worth that value.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's what I paid for it. So like, until you sell it, it ain't worth anything other than that. And the reality is, you've got to service it and whatever and blah, 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 blah. So like, you're probably not making any money. The one that I found interesting recently is I often try to like choose a car based on my head. And I try and work out what's the best car based on my head, like kind of just process rather than like heart.
Okay.
And what I've found is you don't keep those cars that long.
No. Is that why you've got through so many cars over the last few years?
The last 4 years have been a bit of a cycle, a bit of life changes and whatnot, but 100% going, I should have a blah, 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 because I think that will be the best car for me. And you have it and you're like, oh, it's okay. But, and I think this is maybe an area with your Exige, where you say it's cost you a lot of money, and I'm sure it has the process, but you've had that car for ages,
yeah,
and you've not sold it, and you've not bought something else, and you've not sold it, so you've had zero transaction costs on any stuff.
I'm not going to say I've done better than that would have been, but probably would have been in a nice McLaren or Porsche at this stage if I had got rid of it quite a lot earlier. But I go to shoots in the Exige to shoot some very special cars, and people will be more interested in the Exige than these special cars that should be way more special.
And that's fun. And you want to shoot your car.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to take pictures of my car.
It's a test subject for me.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting. And in fact, going back to Get Lost, the launch shoot was really interesting because it felt like a whole new experience for me. So to explain it, I decided to take it up to the Scottish Highlands, and we were having some particularly good weather. So I really pushed to get the car done in time so that we could take it up in the good weather and shoot it at the perfect bit of light in the most amazing locations. And got to the location at the perfect time. And what people don't see is that month of hard work and sleepless nights before. And normally I just turn up. And it gave me such an appreciation for what my clients normally go through before a shoot. And also just understanding the logistics, the costs, and the challenges involved from the other side. It was a really valuable experience.
That is really interesting.
Because I don't think any other photographer's probably ever been through that in that way.
No.
Because why would you? Why
would you? Exactly. You're like, I'm here at 4 a.m. I got up at 2.
I mean, I was polishing the car at midnight the night before the shoot. and just trying to bring it all together was amazing. But also that feeling of satisfaction when we got the shots in the perfect light.
Yeah.
And slightly amusingly, everyone thought they were AI because they were quite so good. But of course, as a photographer with my launch shots for my new brand, I'm going to do the best job I possibly can with everything available to me. And that was what we got.
Yeah. And they're cool. It was cool photos. Yeah, that is. I've not really thought about that, but I've definitely. I hear the people that I've met to do this shoot, and they will say, "Oh, something happened this week, and we had to do blah 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 blah, and then so and so was doing X Y Z up until X hours or whatever." And you're like, "Here's a car," and you're just like, "Yeah, car, cool, put it there, let's do it."
I've done hypercar launches before in like studios, like the couple of days before Geneva back in the day, where they literally were putting the seats in the trailer on the way to the shoot. And it's like, actually, that's ridiculous.
That is insane, isn't it?
Yeah, especially for companies of that size.
Yeah.
Like, I'm obviously a very small scale at the moment, and I'm deliberately trying to keep it that way. But when you have resources and it's still that way, it's quite interesting.
How has that been, like, with the, like, preparing for that launch shoot? How far out did you pick the date, time, stuff like that? And then were you like, oh, we've got 6 weeks till then?
I was putting aggressive deadlines on it the whole time. But I didn't put it seriously until probably a week and a half before, when I knew the weather would still be good.
Yeah.
Like, in reality, it wouldn't have made a difference if we launched a week later. Yeah. But the weather was so good, it was just an opportunity not to be missed.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, there are things we could have improved on the car still, but no one else will see them.
No, and what I like, and this obviously was a conscious decision, is you launched with real photos on a real car.
Yeah.
A car that exists in a real location, shot.
Yeah.
In person.
Yes.
Lots of people don't do that.
Yeah.
What?
I am a photographer, so it's probably a fairly easy answer to that one, Sam.
But even you know, you could have said 6 months ago when you were
I had CAD renders, which are
you could have done a render
probably to the level that a lot of other people launch with.
Yeah.
But also, why would I do that? Like, we're building the car anyway, and you need to go through that process. Like, even if you've got the best CAD in the world, you need to see a physical car, because you go, oh, that doesn't quite work in real life. Let's change that.
Yeah.
And there are still loads of things we're going to change going forward, just to tweak and improve, like the wheel arch surfacing and stuff like that.
Yeah. And with mechanical changes and stuff like that, is that, I know you've not released what it's going to be, but how much of that, in terms of where everything from a build point of view, is sort of, you know, where everything's going to be, where everything's going to route, all that sort of stuff?
So in terms of suspension, we've got dampers on it that are the correct length, and like, we've got our own wishbones and uprights to bespoke dimensions. So on the rear end, we went 40 mil wider on the wishbones, because I don't want to use wheel spacers, and I want to have, basically, it was a visual-led thing that had benefit to travel and everything, really. Because if you look at a standard S1 Elise, the rear wheels are really far in.
Yeah.
And we kind of just had to make a bit of a, let's put the wheel here and let's go out by this amount. And honestly, it is bang on.
Nice.
Just purely visual, the wheels look natural where they are. And that's really important.
That is no small thing as well. Like, so many cars don't do that.
Yeah. And then the way that we designed the arches to actually complement that and give the illusion of ground clearance and everything like that, it's all tied together and thought about. So, like, we are quite a long way in. We've done a lot of the really hard stuff. Like, obviously, if you do wishbones, you have to do drive shafts.
Yeah.
And stuff like that, and toe links, etc.
And how did you go about designing all that stuff? Because, like, Yes, you can go, we're going to make it wider,
you
but
go to the right people
how?
that understand that.
Yeah.
Like, it was quite important to me to retain the feeling of a Lotus
Yeah.
and enhance it. So a lot of the geometry from a Lotus is actually quite good in a lot of ways. And they kind of reward you for setting them up higher.
Okay.
But it's all about angle of ball joints and articulation and everything like that. So that's all had a lot of consideration. And we're now working through the strengthening stages. So it's an extruded aluminium chassis, and we don't want to ever have to replace a chassis.
Yeah.
So we need to strengthen that as the main priority, which we are doing, and consider the failure points.
Okay.
So you want a bent wishbone, you don't want a ball joint pulling out or anything catastrophic.
Yeah.
But it's also important, people need to understand the usage case. It's not a Baja vehicle. Like, you need to have just a little bit of respect because we are still using the original chassis.
Okay. So what would you say is the usage case for this car?
I think it is a car that you can take down a bumpy road and not even think about it. It's a car that you can have fun on every single journey. And if the road runs out and you want to take it and do some stupid stuff on some some off-roady stuff, like, it will be capable off-road. And I've taken it a bit off-road already, and it kind of it felt really alien to me how capable it was. Yeah. Just in terms of...
What sort of things were you doing? Like gravel or like actual lumpy bumpy?
Quite lumpy bumpy, but also quite significant gradient changes.
Okay.
So up onto a bank and a few bits like that. And I was quite surprised just how easily it did it, which is quite reassuring. But we will do a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And we will probably find the failure points. That's sort of the whole point of testing.
Part of testing, right?
Yeah.
Just hopefully not upside down.
Well, it shouldn't be. It's pretty stable, and it's pretty well controlled, and a lot of that is in having good dampers that are set up in the right way. And there's a good chance we'll go active on the dampers so that we actually can dial it in for different scenarios.
Oh, and and have all the sensors so that you go a bit faster, it reacts a bit differently. Yeah,
but also just have it so that it's in presets.
Yeah.
So that it's not overly complicated for people, and it's actually, yes, you can still change it in a more complicated way if you wanted to, but these are the ones we think are spot on for this vehicle.
Yeah.
In this way, because I think a lot of people do overcomplicate it.
Yeah, and people do love, it's like a classic Lotus thing, isn't it? Let them adjust it and they'll adjust it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm not saying I'm the ultimate expert in that, but we will have some very good drivers who are friends to test it and feedback, and we'll get rubbish drivers as well to test it and feedback and see what they think.
That's a valid point, because it's all very well having... I went out in something, I can't remember what it was, and the guy in the car with me is like, he's not a pro, but he's a rally driver, like pretty good rally driver. And the way he drove the car was completely different to how I drove the car. And actually what happened is there was some weird like ignition issues.
Yeah.
Just because I was just using the pedals differently to how he uses the pedals. And he was like, oh, that was actually quite interesting. Like, we need to have a look at that because no one else drove it so badly.
So I found it really interesting when I actually went to Lotus quite a few years ago, and one of their test drivers, he was a very good driver, took me out. But his driving was so good and he was technically one of the most competent drivers you could ever meet, right? Perfectly trail braking into the corner. But I don't want to have to trail brake into a corner in the same way he does.
Yeah.
So like my Exige, for example, I have a lot more front end grip and turning because I like to be chucking my car around.
Yeah.
And I want it to be fun. I don't need that safety net that they have to dial in. And I don't want to have to drive it the same way as that test driver in order to enjoy the car.
Yeah, I know what you mean. My RS is set up a little bit stiffer at the rear on the anti-roll bars than standard. And it's basically that. It's like, I'd rather it turned in than not.
Yeah, I drove a RS with a JZM Mantai type setup on it, and it just transformed it.
I imagine
I
that's
was
pretty
like,
great.
this is the car that it should have been.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah.
probably should go and get someone to have a little look at the old suspension, but it's quite fun anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you're now deep in it. You're using, and how are you basing it? Using a lot of, if you got, this is the person that's going to do the paint, this is the person that's going to do work on suspension, whatever, and you're sort of managing the whole thing.
Yeah, so we're going between different places. To set up a facility, it will mean the company probably never makes money, and I question how a lot of the companies in the industry ever make a penny.
Yeah.
I suspect a lot of them probably don't. And getting that balance and doing things at the right time is very, very important. So we are considering all our options at the moment, basically, but getting experts in each area to help us and do things. And we're trying to partner up with all the right companies.
Yeah.
And it's just finding all the most talented people in the industry that love what we're doing, because it's silly. We're letting people talk about it in the right way and tell the story, because a lot of these companies are under NDA for all their other clients.
Yeah.
And I actually, as a photographer, I like the storytelling elements.
Yeah.
So that's quite key. So going forward, you'll see more and more of that. And
cool.
actually showing how we do things and the processes and why these people are amazing.
That I always find that interesting. There's loads of, it doesn't make good marketing in terms of like podcast guests, but I've chatted to loads of people that are doing really cool stuff and they're really good at it, but no one's heard of them because they're not allowed to say, we actually did this car.
Yeah, and that's why you see things like RML, where and actually Rimax's quite a good example as well, where they really just wanted to show the world what they could do.
Yeah.
So it's quite interesting. But there's a lot of smaller companies, even like the leather supplier,
Yeah.
UK Hide. Like they're amazing and so knowledgeable. And to be able to just, I could spend a whole day there just talking about leather and understanding it. I find it so interesting.
Yeah.
And like we ended up with such an obscure leather that just feels like no other leather I've ever felt before.
Nice.
Which I know is totally inappropriate for an off-road car, but it looks so good and it feels so good, and it's just that quality level. It's a fashion leather, not a car leather.
Okay.
But it's my prototype. I can just change the leather at a later date if I want. So that restriction doesn't matter right now.
Yeah, let's make it nice.
Yeah, let's just do the ultimate.
Yeah. And you chat, you say both that you get to go and drop in, you get to talk to these people, and you get it on a whole new level now because you're like, we want to do a project together. And I know like a little bit about a lot, but then you talk to these people and you go, there's a lot more. There's a lot in this. There's a reason you've been doing this for 30 years. And like, you do this like this and that like that and that like that.
But it's also, you say that, it's been really interesting since we've launched with my photography clients, for example. Being able to say that I do get lost, people see me in a totally different light.
Oh, okay.
Because I've done an awful lot.
Yeah.
But I'm also using a lot of new manufacturing techniques, etc., etc.
Yeah.
And I've gone into a couple of companies since, and I won't name them, although I think they're lovely people, and seen things on their cars that they can improve. I'm like, we can just do this for you if you want.
Oh, yeah.
And like things like buttons. It's like, there's a lot of new ways to do things. It doesn't have to be injection molded.
Yeah.
There's a lot of manufacturing techniques that can be suitable to the volumes of vehicles being made.
Yeah.
But it also allows you to customize more, etc.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, and design-wise as well, because obviously that's quite important when you're photographing
For
things.
sure.
But it's just really interesting because a lot of these companies have been doing it 30 plus years.
And it's not changed that much.
And they're amazing at those old school techniques, which I'm not, like fabrication. It blows my mind that people can just connect metal together.
Yeah.
But I can then print something on a 3D printer that's a functional part and amazing. And like 3D printing's come a very long way.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand it very much and think it's not production worthy when it can be if it's done right.
Oh, yeah. Some of the parts I've seen now, I think, which one was quite interesting? BAC.
BAC do their mirror support.
The mirrors.
Yeah.
It's like painted, printed, and you're like, well, that just looks It just looks great.
Yeah. And it's a lot more cost effective. It's print on demand, so you don't have to outlay lots of money. You don't
They're
have
the
to
only
do
one that has it.
soft jaws with CNC, etc., etc. So, yeah, it's been a very interesting process where I've learned an awful lot, but also I'm using that to help other people.
Yeah.
Because I want my clients to do well.
Yeah, and I imagine that must be tricky. If you've been making stuff for a long time. Now, lots of these companies, they're always iterating and they're doing stuff, but sometimes there's like, we've worked out this is the best way. We're just going to keep doing it like that forever. Coming in, starting afresh. Yes, you then have to learn how to get it all to work and make it a successful business and blah, 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 all that stuff. But then, as you say, if you sort of coming at it from a point of, well, I'm learning how to do this now. What's the best way available now? And also maybe being a bit younger or whatever, or blah, 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 blah. You're like, what might be possible in 5 years' time? And let's tend towards that.
Yeah. And also speaking to the right people within my network.
Yeah.
I'm incredibly lucky that I've had some really, really clever and interesting people support me in terms of strategy, in terms of manufacturing processes, which just wouldn't be available to you if you were an established company.
Yeah.
So, and actually, I said earlier, we'll talk about photography in the future, but I'm trying to increase my skill set and knowledge in various different areas, kind of just understanding and the ability to bring the right people together is a really key thing, which a lot of companies struggle with. And it's something that's really important to me to give myself opportunities going forward.
Yeah. So where do you see your photography going forward? What would you like to be doing in the future?
So I do a whole host of photography at the moment, from small jobs all the way up to ad campaigns for new car launches and that kind of thing. And I do it all over the world. Like, I'm living the dream that I set out to do.
Ideal.
15 years ago. And more, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I have seen a noticeable change in the industry over time, for good and for bad. Social media has massively changed the way that we shoot things. The priority of the assets, from marketing to social to website to press.
Yeah.
And I think AI, ignore it at your peril.
Yeah.
It is coming along and it's changing how things work. I don't entirely know all the answers at the moment, which I don't think anyone does.
No.
But one of the reasons I'm looking at all the different options is so that I don't suddenly end up in a situation where AI just switches on and can do exactly what I do.
Yeah.
Because I'm fairly confident that they have learned off a select subset of photographers in the car industry without permission.
Yes.
Or who knows what permission you give on social media. But there is nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, kind of need to create skills in various areas. And I think there will always be people willing to spend money for an experience.
Definitely.
Which is where Get Lost has so much potential.
Yeah.
Creating that unique experience that they can't get in any other way.
Yeah. Because I think we'll do a little bit of photography and then we'll come back. With everything changing and the ability to like generate backgrounds and all this sort of stuff, it's all very well the technology existing and it's going to get better and better and better, but you still need a sort of director type person. They can be a photographer, they can be a video, whatever, to go, yeah, but it needs to be like this. I want you to do all the background stuff. I want you to do all the legwork. Because actually...
You're absolutely spot on, and it's really interesting because generative AI, as Photoshop call it, it isn't quite good enough unless you know exactly how a photo should look. And some clients now, I do some retouching work as well as just photography. They will want to put a backlit car with the light, or a front lit car with a backlit background. And it is possible with a huge amount of work, but you require that technical understanding. So, in fact, I'm working on something right now where I'm trying to do exactly that.
Yeah.
And I'm having to change every reflection in the car. I'm having to change the way that the grass is lit underneath it. It's a massive task, but the AI tools help. But if the art director tried to do that, he'd struggle.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm doing it.
Yeah. So
it's getting better. And I think, as I said before we started recording, there will always be a need for pictures that show the condition of things and the reality.
Yes.
And you can learn a lot from a picture very quickly, whereas a video takes a while to tell that story.
Yes.
So for things like launching a car, launching pictures is much like, obviously they both have a usage case, but pictures are useful.
People put pictures on their wall. You can have pictures as a background. You could have a video, but like no one would do that.
Yeah, and there's billboards on motorways and stuff like that, more in America, highways.
Yeah, if you've got half a second to look at something, you can't watch a video.
Yeah. So there is a usage case. I think AI is going to develop. I still love photography.
Yeah.
Like the process, and I've always been quite a technical photographer, and I enjoy planning and then creating something that's technically difficult. And that's where I try to push myself now, is on the technical side.
Yeah.
Because I think that's where I can separate.
What are the sort of things that in your brain you're like, I'm going to try this and it's going to be challenged? Or like what?
So there's technical from different elements. There's in terms of photography, lighting, and then also production.
Right.
And being really good and understanding production so that you can integrate into other productions like film crews, etc.
Okay.
That's a whole new skill set in itself, which is incredibly valuable to people.
Right.
So when I go on a big set, like 100 plus crew on the film side, I need to fully understand everything they're doing at every single point to understand, okay, they're going to do a lens change at 2:05. So therefore, that's my window to have 4 minutes. And that's a real, like, understanding that and getting your head around it all. Not many people can do that well. And then understanding and planning for those 4 minutes, for example.
Yeah, what you're going to do in that time.
Yeah, how can I shoot a whole social campaign in 4 minutes? Well, I have done. I would rather not. And once you've done it once, they want you to do it again is the problem.
Yeah, they were like, you did it. Yeah.
Yeah. But there's a lot you can do. Like, it's data at the end of the day. And you need to capture all the elements needed to get your final result.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the understanding of that. And when I then do night photography or studio photography, integrating all that together to be able to create whatever's needed or whatever I fancy or whatever the art director fancies.
Yeah, I've seen, there's a brand that you work with, Zembo.
Yep.
We both know them. I remember you did the launch. You've done all their photos really. And that to me is like, it's a blend of studio plus you've inserted backgrounds and stuff like that.
The problem with studio photography is people don't resonate with it massively.
No.
And it's hard to do storytelling with a studio shot, for example. Like, how do you...
There is no story.
Well, exactly. So the Zenvo is called the Aurora. So with the launch photography, I wanted to bring a bit more into it. So right from the beginning, before the cars were even a thing, we were having chats about how we would do it. And actually, fair play to Zenvo, because not many people plan that far in advance.
Yeah.
And they gave me a lot of creative freedom on it. And I built up an environment photographically. So using, like, I shot the floor, which was actually a paving slab in my garden.
Okay.
Because I just needed the texture and I needed the toning. So I used like green LED light to light up the floor.
Right. Yeah.
And I drew inspiration from Pulpit Rock, I think it's called, in Norway.
Okay.
And just what would it look like if this
Yeah.
Zenvo Aurora was on Pulpit Rock? We couldn't take it anywhere but a studio because of the secrecy of the car.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have taken it to the mountains in real life, but this was the next best option, and that was an example of I have the technical ability to do it.
Yeah.
And I do look back at the pictures and go, I could probably do this better, but that's a good sign.
But and then that's
and
that's because you're pushing it
and time deadlines, etc.
Yeah.
But we managed to create something that just looked a bit more interesting to me. And some people won't like it, but hopefully they're distracted by the car.
No, I remember thinking those are cool. Like launch photos is always a tricky one. Like some brands just absolutely dirt, but it's there for a reason. Whether it's like they don't want to take the car to a place, fair. I mean, I imagine that's a huge part of it.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, how can we make it look like it's in a place, moving and doing all the stuff and blah blah blah.
Yeah, with a car that probably doesn't work.
Yeah, might not have its
Quite
seats
often.
in yet.
Yeah, or just had them fitted.
Just had them fitted.
Yeah, interestingly, just on the subject of launch photography, one of the things I find so interesting is quite often you're the first person outside of the company to see that car.
Yeah.
And I always reference it, the De Tomaso P72. So I shot the launch photography for that.
Yeah.
And to this day, it's still one of my favourite cars visually. And I'm sure they just announced production actually. Spec, etc., and I'm sure it will be just as good in production spec.
Yeah.
But getting to see that car for the first time in a studio, and I got to pick which angles people see for the first time.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's a really fun, interesting, but also stressful process. And that car entirely changes character as you move around it and change lens and focal length and distance. It goes from a really classical silhouette with some very organic lines to quite an aggressive modern looking car.
Yeah.
And choosing how people understand that car for the first time when you launch it is quite a process.
Yeah, and I imagine is that a conversation you have with people a lot of like, well, and again, you don't know necessarily until you're in the room with it. You're like, we don't want to shoot this close and super wide. Like generally, you probably don't want to do that anyway. But
so there were a lot of conversations leading up to it, but I hadn't seen the car.
Yeah.
So I was chatting. So Joe Wong is the designer, who I think is one of the best designers out there. And I've had a lot of chats with him about Get Lost in the lead up, and he's advised a little bit, which is kind. But having that relationship and that process means that when you do get to the studio, you know how the brand wants people to see the car. So you know what you're aiming for, but you've still got to just nail it, because a couple of inches left or right and the whole character changes.
It changes a lot.
Yeah.
And then do you sometimes get it where do you have ways of dealing with this? I sometimes, in my head, I'm like, that's right. And then you shoot it. And then you're just like accidentally, or whatever, you shoot a little bit around just because. And then you get to the edit and you're like, oh no, that's better. And also I wish I'd gone 5 centimeters higher or something.
So the mistake I often make, which I wish I would learn from, and still don't, is I will often go for the hero best shot first.
Right.
When you should do it last, because everything you've learned throughout the day of how to light that vehicle, you can use to light it better.
Right.
As opposed to working it out on that, because every car is different how you light it. There are similarities between things, but you have to really work it out as you go every single time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is interesting. Like, I'd not thought about you being the first person to see something, because if you've never seen it before and you get to see it in the flesh, that is just such a different experience to having seen photos and videos and blah, 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 blah. Because you already have an opinion. Yeah.
And in fact, for Get Lost, it was quite interesting because I had seen the car in the workshop so much.
Yeah.
But then when you stand back from it and you've got mountains around you and you've got amazing light, having to make those decisions, you're like, I didn't expect that to be the angle for this car.
Yeah. Yeah, because I guess you're working on the car, you're seeing it, you're seeing bits come together, probably quite close up, maybe around, and then you're like, no, it's finished. What's it like in an environment?
Yeah. It's quite interesting to try and understand it, and there's always going to be bits that aren't as good.
Yeah.
So you're going to try and avoid those. Like every single car has worse angles, obviously, and it's my job to make sure.
Do you have a favourite part of it, or a favourite, aspect of that car?
There's a few. The roof scoop is one of my favourites. I love the shape of it. So the leading edge at the front, where the air intake is effectively, is a mirror image of the lower grille at the front of the car.
Nice.
Which you probably wouldn't notice, but it makes it feel a lot more natural. And obviously it's a massive thing on the top of the car. So it also visually raises the car.
Yeah.
And when I've taken it off since, it looks so empty without it. So that's got to stay.
Yeah.
The headlights. So it's important to me that things are functional. That's one thing I've really learnt from my Exige. And things like headlights, you want good headlights.
Yeah, you want to be able to see.
So I've got bi-LED projectors, which I then designed everything for them to make them fit.
Okay.
So they're from a very good brand that everyone will know. And then I totally redesigned how they mount, they like the enclosure for the actual projector, etc. And took a bit of inspiration from the Miura with little eyelashes, just subtly. But to have a rectangular shape for the projector when everything else on the car is a curve is quite a nice kind of jarring effect.
Yeah.
But it also visually widens the car again.
Okay.
So that, then the arches were so hard to get right, because it's about enhancing the shape, making it look wider but not looking silly. So the front arch, it integrates into the top of the shoulder of the car, and then the rear one is more jarring to make it visually look wider, so it comes down and then out.
Right.
So there's a lot of consideration that's gone into those.
And that, when you were mocking it up, did you sort of CAD that out beforehand?
Yeah. So I 3D scanned it all, and then did an awful lot of test prints effectively and throwing them on and
okay. Yeah. So then
how
you
does
can put
this
your hand
look?
on it.
Yeah, and just see it, and it doesn't give you a full idea, but it.
Because you always see those the videos of designers, and designers always talk about it, of getting their clay models out, and then they run their hand along it, and they're like, oh yeah, no, that little bit there.
I wish I could do that process. I would genuinely really enjoy that process, but it's not efficient financially and time.
It's very expensive.
Yeah, and you need people skilled in that as well. So, like in reality, the more of these steps I can make more efficient, let's say, the more this car becomes viable as a business. Yeah. Which is quite important.
And whatever the price comes out at, as long as you can build it, make some money, the lower that number, ideally, the more people might want to buy it.
Yeah, I think...
I don't know whether that necessarily 100% tracks, but...
Yeah, I think... What's more important actually is if you save money in some areas, it means you can spend it in other areas to improve the quality, or features or whatever.
Yeah, sort of perceived overall quality of the
and I think
product.
At the end of the day, you are only as good as the worst thing on the car. Yeah. So the more you can do to make sure that worst thing is still really good, the better.
Yeah. We all know you go in certain cars and you're like, everything's bespoke and whatever, apart from the plastic, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, oh, come on, just remove that. Yeah. I feel like that is a real photographer's way of looking at stuff as well.
And I'm also designing, understanding how to show it to people visually. Yeah. And kind of perspectives, like the way you look at an interior, for example. What's your viewpoint on it? Because a lot of people would just think of it in certain, kind of look at the whole thing as a whole. Yeah. I'm thinking of it, okay, well, you're looking at it from the steering wheel. You're looking at it from the passenger side. You're then looking at it with the roof off, you're looking at it through the windscreen, like it's an open top. So I'm trying to think how it all flows nicely and how ultimately it's a really small interior. So I'm trying to maximize the features so that it's as usable and functional as possible.
Yeah.
But also visually interesting and different, because I don't want it to just look like an Elise S1 interior. They're really boring.
Yeah. There's not much going on.
Yeah.
And in terms of materials, are you doing like carbon body or anything like that? Or
at the moment, we are aiming to keep with the fiberglass body, because if I have to go and make molds, the costs just skyrocket.
Yeah.
You never know for the future, and it's been pretty popular so far. So we are looking at options, but we will use carbon in certain areas. I don't necessarily want to do huge amounts of visual carbon, but it does save on weight. It's strong. It also has flexibility.
Yeah.
So things like wheel arches, it's an obvious choice potentially with Kevlar.
Yeah.
And things like under trays, we're looking at all the different options. We've got some stuff on the car, but there's always room for improvement. So.
And what sort of weight saving would be like a carbon body front rear clam type jobby?
I can't say on Elise S1, but I can lift a clam on my own. On the Exige, I know that a front clam I think is 12 kilos. So if you half it, you've only saved 6 kilos. Now, if you put a lightweight battery in a car, you've saved 16, 17 kilos. So there's a lot of cost versus benefit analysis.
Yeah. And if you've got something that's already really light and designed to be light, then obviously those savings are harder.
But also strength is quite important, and how the material reacts under certain circumstances. So carbon will quite often flex, whereas fiberglass will crack, as we saw this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Bit of respray needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not
6th time.
Not ideal.
Time for a front lift on the Exige, I think.
So when do you think, what's the next sort of milestone on that project?
So what we're working towards at the moment is having the drivetrain in a way that the car can be driven in anger and tested and enjoyed. It will be a prototype. It will have prototype written all over the car, because there is no point respraying the car and making it perfect until we know it drives right and we know it's not going to have issues.
Yeah.
So that's the next stage. Don't know exactly when we will get to that stage. Currently the engine's in pieces, etc. And I haven't announced tech specs, but we're also looking at various different engine options. So we may put a different engine into the second car.
Oh, different engine as in maybe even different number of cylinders, or just different?
No comment.
V12 coming to...
Yeah, I think we might struggle for space on that one.
Yeah, unlikely.
But we're looking at all the options. There's a lot of proven solutions out there, which are very good.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a 25-year-old car. So there's a load of fundamental stuff that needs sorting as well. Like, it is actually a restoration as well.
Yeah. And is that what are they generally like?
So we go and find the donor cars is quite important, because I saw a lot of donor cars that are bad.
Right.
And what actually matters is the chassis. So it's extruded aluminium. You don't want corrosion and you don't want bends or any issues like that. And I reckon the first 5 cars I looked at had corrosion or bends.
Yeah.
So I walked. So it's really important to get a good one, and it's important to protect it. The engine, it depends what we end up doing for final production, but if it goes in the bin, then it doesn't matter when you buy a donor car.
Yeah.
And we replace everything like cooling, etc. because it needs to be good.
And to get a good chassis, does that 100% align with probably what actually looks like a good car to start with, or do you sometimes get a sneakily good chassis on something that looks a bit rubbish?
We got a sneakily good chassis, well, perfect chassis on the donor car, the red one. The paint is awful, but it doesn't really matter at this stage. In fact, It just meant we paid less for the donor car.
Yeah.
But it's a 22,000 mile car. Just someone clearly stored it outside at some stage and it ruins the paint.
Yeah.
So anyone else buying it would go, oh, it needs a respray.
Yeah.
Because I look at it and go, oh, sweet, it needs a respray.
Needs a respray. We're going to do that anyway.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and then our second car, which will be the Carrabba's car, is a 30,000 mile car, but it's so good condition. The person never drove it in the rain.
Oh, nice.
And even the roof was kept in cling film.
Oh, really?
It's so mint.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that car will be, is that going to be production one
That will be first production spec
at some point in time?
Yeah, we're not even gonna start on it properly until I'm 100% sure on everything else.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah, it's an exciting process.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, is there like, what else is on your mind in the sort of car world? But I kind of imagine that this is taking up an awful lot of headspace and time.
It is. I'm still within the industry quite strongly, obviously. I've actually been doing a load of photography for Praga recently of their Bohema. And I think that is a really underrated car. They just set the Dunsfold, well, they were within 0.2 of the Valkyrie round Dunsfold Top Gear test track.
Wow.
Which is incredibly impressive for a car less than half the price of a Valkyrie.
Yeah.
And a lot more usable. And actually, most people have seen their demo car, their test car, which is now the red one. I shot...
Was it blue?
It was at the beginning, yes.
Okay.
Then it was silver and orange. But I shot an actual production car. The quality is really impressive.
Is it? I've not seen one in the...
It's worth a look
flash.
at the production. They'll be at Festival of Speed, which is exciting. I'm so impressed. Like a little company from Prague are really competing. And yes, people will look at it and go, okay, so it's got a GTR engine from Litchfield. But actually, that's also a good thing.
It's not a bad thing.
It makes it really serviceable. And
you can drive that car.
they're running 700 horsepower, which for hypercar numbers is quite low. But you know it's going to be reliable at that.
Yeah, and you also know if you, I presume there's space, but if you wanted to, it could be 2,000 horsepower.
Yeah, I don't know what they've got planned in the future, but I think everyone's mind probably goes there.
Yeah.
But also, if you go in one, you probably go, it probably doesn't need this.
Might be all right.
It's like half a GTR in weight.
That's something that's quite interesting. I can't remember what the car was. Oh, it was the that MX-5 that they put the Toyota V6 in.
Jaguar.
Is it Jaguar? Jaguar V6?
I think so.
I can't remember what the company's called. Anyway, they were saying
Neil has one.
the difference in the...
Is it Rocketeer?
Rocketeer, that's it. The difference in the experience of driving that engine in a car that weighs nothing. It just feels like a completely different engine. What does that GTR engine feel like in a car that weighs significantly less?
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine you're thinking GTR very often, considering your feet are above your waist and just the whole experience of even getting in that car is special. And I actually think it's incredible value within that market.
What is it in terms? It's like one.
It's about one plus tax.
Okay.
Sterling, I think.
It's a lot of money, but when you compare it to, as you say, to other stuff.
But compare it to, say, an SF90XX.
Yeah.
It's a much more special car.
A lot rarer.
Yeah. A lot rarer.
Looks mad.
Yeah, and I actually think it's really interesting as a prospect because it's in that middle ground that no one else seems to be operating in.
Mm.
And I think it's still a carbon tub.
Yeah.
It's really impressive.
You could like saying that car is £1 million. If you'd told me it was 2,
you wouldn't. I mean, surprised.
I'm not buying one or whatever, but like I wouldn't have been surprised.
Yeah,
like guessing a DLS.
Yeah, and to me that it's that whole Singer Classic versus Carrera GT argument, isn't it? When they're the same money, it's a challenging one. But how many people just buy both?
Yeah.
So
it is.
We're probably looking at it from a weird perspective of not.
It is funny though. It is funny how values of cars don't 100% stack with there's the new modern thing. So there's always been like 599 GTOs when they were new, or whether it's a TDF or whatever the latest V12 Ferrari special thing is. They come out and then they're like £1 million, and you go, yeah, but at the time, I remember, I think when 599 GTOs, like right-hand drive, were like 900 or something, you're like, it's more than an F40. You're like, but that's an F40.
Yeah. It doesn't always make sense. I think from the Resto-Mod world, I now have more of an understanding as to why the price point needs to be so high.
Yeah.
Because they can be different amounts of work per donor car, which you have to account for, which I think when you're dealing with metal cars more than fiberglass cars must be quite horrific.
Oh, yeah.
But just the cost to do things properly, which you have to because the market expects it, is just a big number nowadays.
It is. And you go and look at like a Singer production, and I didn't really realise. I went around the DLS factory maybe last year, and it's like, whoa. What is going on here? This is a huge facility with like serious processes, serious amount of stuff. You're like, I can see how if you only sell 100 cars, you've got to price in all this stuff.
It's challenging, but also it gives me an appreciation for actual production cars as well.
Yes.
So you look at things like the Nomad.
Yeah.
Like, that's actually really impressive. You guys can build a car for that.
Yeah.
Because you've got to start from scratch. And it's all just about volumes, isn't it? But it's really interesting to analyse it all.
Yeah. And then there's, I guess, the bit you're in is you're finding that those techniques that work that allow you to do interesting stuff at lower volumes without doing I've done a new switch for the 911, but we're going to make 100,000 of them. So
yeah, but it's also
3 million on them.
Sometimes those things are available off the shelf that won't necessarily easily integrate, but they will integrate with some creativity. I think creativity is probably a really good way to put it with a lot of it's like there's quite often a creative way to solve problems. Yeah. That's not the sensible way, but the creative way. And the guys that were helping me to build the car, I think they struggled at times with my creative way of thinking as opposed to my sensible way of thinking. They quite often said, that's stupid. It's like, good, that means I'm on the right track.
What has been something that you're like, I kind of want to do that? Has there been some things that have got knocked out because they're just, the reality has been, this is not the best way to do it, or
not
significantly more of a headache than you thought it was going to be?
Not so far, because I'm running it. Kind of gone with the stupid ideas pretty much the whole time.
Let's do it.
It's like, oh, hydraulic handbrake's really hard. I'm like, no, it's fine. Got to have a hydraulic handbrake.
Well, yeah, and things like that, as you say, like sort of the overall arching thing is it's got to be fun. Yeah. So something like that.
I keep wishing I had one in the Exige. It's like, if you need to turn around, it's really convenient.
I imagine an Elise with a hydraulic handbrake, you can turn around anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not big. That must be something, actually. Being a bit lifted and fundamentally small, you just have so much more latitude for driving on a road.
Yeah. I mean, we have made it quite a lot wider.
How much wider? It's quite a bit wider, isn't it?
Wheels, the outside of the wheels are 10 centimetres wider than it used to be.
That's a bit. That's quite a lot.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, the old wheels on the rear were a lot further into the bodywork. Yeah. So I don't know the exact figure, but
that sort of amount.
It's quite a lot.
And what does that make its footprint similar to?
Width-wise, it's quite similar to my Exige now, I think.
Okay. Yeah, which
is
not huge.
Still quite a small car on the road.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we've made it wider, but we've also, it's still a small car.
Yeah. For fun.
Yeah. And it'll be set up in a way that makes it predictable, and because it's a short wheelbase, so it's important that when it's beyond the limit of grip, which it quite often will be, because all-terrain tyres quite often are beyond the limit of grip, it's important that it's really predictable and it goes out and comes back in nicely.
And how have you picked? Have you picked the exact tire that's going to be on it?
Yeah, there's alternatives as well that will fit, which is quite important because we don't want to be left high and dry if that tire isn't in production anymore.
Okay, yeah.
And actually you can fit quite a few normal tires, like winter tires, studded tires in that size. But yeah, I think that's the best tire that we've gone for.
And you're going for more of an off-road tire?
Yeah, it's an all-terrain. It's an actual all-terrain. And I think it's designed for vans.
Okay.
But it's really strong. It's got a nice tread pattern. It is a bit heavier than I would like, which you can't do an awful lot about.
Yeah.
But it's lighter than the other options, and I did try them, and I bought them and weighed them.
Yeah.
That was an expensive process. But yeah, I'm quite pleased with them, and ultimately what matters is it's fun to drive.
Yeah, is it fun?
Yeah.
Do they work?
Yeah.
No, it sounds like a cool, slightly quite stressful journey to be on, but it's nice to watch from afar and see these things. Right, well, I normally wrap these up with 5 questions. You've been here before, so I'll give you a bit of a chopped version.
Cool.
If you could only drive one sports car the rest of your life, what would it be?
It's really tricky because I've experienced so many.
Yeah.
I went in a T50 for the first time at the weekend.
Oh, I bet that's pretty good.
Yeah, that engine and the noise and everything, like the packaging.
Yeah, the footprint.
Yeah, it's just amazing. So I would take a T50 and put a new body on it.
Nice. Nice.
Make it
look good.
Look the way I would like it to look. Without saying too much more that will make them hate me. Because I think it is the most special car. But it is an engineering first car. And throughout the industry, there are cars that are engineering led, there are cars that are design led.
Yeah.
That's very much an engineering led, if ever there was an example.
Yeah.
But that's what makes it so special.
When we were talking earlier and I said, you've got to love the looks of something before you even consider buying it, the T50 popped up into the back of my head because I don't love the looks.
Yeah.
I don't love the looks, but I can't get enough of the whole concept and everything else, to the point where you're like, but does that sort of make up for the fact that I don't quite like the shape? And it's this weird mishmash in my brain because everything else is so awesome.
Yeah, like the packaging, the luggage space, the
central seating position.
Yeah.
Just everything.
There's so much that's good. But I do think, like, even just put T50S looks to it.
Yeah, but then you'd be like, that ruins all of its road manners.
Okay.
To be fair, you do have a car with a massive wing on the back outside.
Yeah. And actually this morning in the rain, I could see the rooster tail coming off the back of the car. Like, everyone else has a bit of spray and my car has a lot of spray. So I think while you may not be able to feel aerodynamics, they're progressively doing stuff.
Yeah, they're definitely doing something. Yeah, T50, that is cool. I saw one last week. I've not been in one yet. Anyone wants to let me go in their T50? Absolutely, I will come, please.
I should add, I was just a passenger, and I was quite happy just to be a passenger.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down. What do you think is the most undervalued car at the moment? What should be worth more?
There's not an awful lot at the moment.
Tricky.
I don't think there is much undervalued. I think the market is quite a tricky point at the moment. I'm a bit blank because...
Can we go the other way? Can we go
overvalued?
What is going to tank? Not necessarily tank, but it might be a peaking.
I think you look at a sort of a world where I could afford whatever I wanted.
Yeah.
And you go, I probably still wouldn't buy that at that.
Yeah.
And there's quite a lot out there. Things like SF90XX, I'm sure it's an amazing car, but it doesn't really do much for me.
What is that new?
I don't know, but it's a lot.
Is it like 800-900?
Yeah, and to me, the SF90 was already too fast. I know that the XX will give it a load more feel, and I know it's limited numbers, so it's more special. But then everyone that's had an SF90 prefers the 296.
And that's an interesting one because we've got the 296 Speciale now.
Yeah.
Which I'd love to have a go in. I've not even been in a 296 actually, to sort of see what's going on there.
To me, if they manage to make it so the 296 Speciale just has more feel and makes it so that it's actually more accessible and gives you more feedback at normal speeds, that's the value of it more than any extra performance. Yes. Which quite often, like you look at Speciale to 458 and that's actually what you got for your money.
Yeah. Yes, and like 599 GTO, you got more raw.
Yeah.
And that's what you want.
Yeah, and TDF actually, weirdly, I didn't love the TDF. I preferred the way an 812 drove because the TDF was quite skitty and hard work, and I didn't think in a particularly nice way.
You don't want to feel like you might die in like a sketchy way.
Yeah, in a £1 million car.
Yeah.
It's less enjoyable, especially when it's a friend's car.
I like what they've done with that line. It sounds like, what's the new one called? 12C.
Yeah. Sounds a lot more predictable and road manners.
They've more like road car for older person.
And I've not been in one, but I have been in the SP3 Daytona.
Oh yeah. What was that like?
Weird sentence, I know. I was really impressed with how it was set up as a road car.
Interesting.
It was really compliant on the road, soaked up bumps in a really good way. And they've clearly made a choice at Ferrari to make cars work for the road because that's where they get used.
Yeah, this sort of the spiel I've heard, or what people loosely seem to be saying, is something like the SF90 XX, for example, has become this is the fastest thing, and the F80, whatever, is like the fastest thing that we can do. So therefore, we don't have everything else doesn't have to be the fastest thing we can do. They're still quick, but let's try and make
Porsche
them more
have done
evolving.
that as well, actually, with RS and ST in a way, where they're quite different feeling and different experiences.
Have you driven those?
I've been in, yeah, and they are quite different. Like the clutch and flywheel in an ST.
To do that?
Yeah, and it's quite stallable, I say, as a passenger.
I hear that.
But people that get on board with it, in fact, it's quite often the case with clutches like that. And T50 actually had a clutch that is very comparable to Carrera GT.
Yeah.
It's the one that everyone will know. And you basically can't touch the throttle. And I'd imagine ST's probably actually the same.
Yeah, and do they have the my GTS? It has like anti-stall or something. So you just, I think it's this. Is it the same in the
I'd imagine
GT?
so.
Like even if you're on a hill, you can. I imagine the technology's got better now from Carrera GT or whatever, but you can just lift off, and it will.
It's also those engines have enough torque. Like T50 engine has a lot of torque.
Yeah.
McLaren F1 has a similar clutch actually. And I've driven our mutual friend's car.
Oh, nice.
Very, very slowly at MTC. And it was a case of, he warned me before, it's like a Carrera GT clutch. Don't touch the throttle until you come off it. And it's fine when you know that.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't want to do a roundabout.
Yeah, or like a up a hill, round a corner from a stationary start type situation.
Yeah, they do handle it though. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, did we lose the track of the
I don't know where
point?
that came from. That was that started off as most undervalued car, went to
most overvalued
car. I think it will be very interesting to see Resto-Mod space in 10 years' time, because there's so many brands, plus one, that, as we were talking about earlier, like if there isn't a clear story and a clear, I think, product,
but also understanding of the customer, and
understanding
that's something I've been lucky with. I know a lot of people who will be the customers, and I talk to them and they go, "You're an idiot." I'm like, cool, I will change this approach, and not many people seem to do that.
What? Yeah, because you often get like, I've started this project, this is my vision, I'm going to make that. How is that swayed versus talking to customers or potential customers?
I I think the overall concept has stayed true, and that's why I'm doing it. I have to have a belief and believe it's the right thing to do, otherwise I wouldn't have started it. But there are elements like price points and what people expect for that and how it's done and sort of the perceived quality. That's all shifting and understanding of who will potentially buy the car. It's not just going to be the mega rich.
Yeah.
That would be too easy. You have to make it so that your audience can be as large as possible is a big thing I've learned. Like, I do know a lot of high net worth people, but I couldn't possibly rely on them to make my business a success. I have to open it up to as many people as possible. But also, I want this car to be so that people can experience it and enjoy it. Yeah. And that's quite key.
And what was, you said on price points and things, did that inform your, like, we need to be more, if we're more than this, the car's got to have these things, or if we're less than this,
I think
more people will buy it,
there's a certain point you cannot build it for less than a certain amount and do it properly, even with very few features. And then things like engines and how much work goes into it, and even things like how long you spend sorting panel gaps.
Right.
It's the number of hours that adds up as a cost. Getting that balance right, like, I may not be able to get it absolutely perfect. Yeah. But I will damn try. But it's getting that balance right and the spec level correct. And even like the power level for what, like, a lot of these customers have 1,000+ horsepower cars. Yeah. They find it very hard when you're like, well, it starts with 120 horsepower, but don't worry, because it's like 700-ish kilos.
It feels good.
It feels great. You're not going to be able to overtake anyone, but so there's balance points and
I imagine
pitching it in the right way. And actually, I also don't want too much power because it will be less fun.
Yes.
Remember, it's on all-terrain tyres.
Yeah.
So
and it's light.
Yeah.
It's not going to have tons of grip.
And it's got more weight over the rear than it did originally because of the spare wheel. Okay. And mounting. And we're working on a boot solution under the spare wheel at the moment, which is quite interesting.
So it's got a bit more.
It's got room behind the seats for luggage as well. So
do you think, in terms of, for some customers, and every customer is on their, or potential customer is on their own journey of like where they are, what they've been and whatever. Do you think, in terms of engine horsepower numbers, do you think the horsepower number means more to some people, or power to weight, and then you can say it's comparable to a
I
GT3
don't
or
think
something?
Anyone's going to be doing comparisons, apart from magazines like Autocar.
But just from
I don't think
when you're saying how quick or not quick it's going to be.
I don't think it hugely matters. I think it's all about drivability and how it puts it down and the enjoyment factor. So it's probably torque matters more. It's gearing. Yeah. It's how good the diff is and how well it's set up. It's things like that actually matter. And most will have probably already made their mind up having seen it visually.
Yeah, whether
and then the tech specs will confirm that it's for them or not. Yeah. And we can obviously work with people, but it's also, as a business, it does not work to go, how long's a piece of string? We will put in a 600 horsepower engine, because you end up spending 4 years on that when you could be staying true to your business model. Yeah. So we will do interesting things, and I would like to think I'm quite a creative person to make interesting things possible and weird and wonderful things possible. But there's a...
Yeah, and I guess how different are, let's say you sell 10. Are you going to, in an ideal world, are they all going to look different but be sort of spec-ish similar?
There will be a base spec, and then things will be possible. Because I think people also need guidance of a sense of reality of what's possible. Yeah. So, and not everyone's creative. So if we give them options, they quite enjoy that. Yeah, yeah. And it's about the experience as well, which is one of the next stages.
Mm. Most interesting car that's not the project you're working on to you at the moment?
I already mentioned the Praga, which I think is very interesting. I think in terms of what I'd actually like as well, I think Singer are doing an amazing job. I love their Turbo Classic, the non-DLS, and the quality and the tolerances that they're achieving. It's really geeky. I love the shut lines on it. It's so good, the quality that they achieve. Are you getting like
more of an appreciation over time? The more you do stuff?
Yeah, massively. And I appreciate things for different reasons as to what I appreciated things for before.
Yeah.
Like it's my understanding of design, it has gone up so much.
Yeah.
Which again is a benefit to my photography. Yeah, that's one of them.
Because what they came out with something recently. There's a new car,
Sport Classic, was it?
Yes. So it's like looks like a turbo, but it's NA.
Yeah, quite like a turbo though.
The turbo. I'm kind of an NA person. He says driving a turbo GTS, but the more I drive that, the more I realise day to day can be quite good. But on the flip, having a Revy engine is more of an experience. But I do look at the Singer Turbo and go, it's just so cool.
I haven't driven either to be able to properly compare. I've been in a Singer, but I've not had like a proper experience of it, to be honest. But I have driven standard 964s, and to me, the Turbo felt like the engine was working.
Right, yeah.
And the standard 964 just felt like it wanted to stall a lot. It's quite an old car.
It is, yeah.
Like, they're quick for what they are, but yeah, the turbo engine just transformed it to me.
Yeah.
But I'd imagine a 4-litre special Revy engine with short ratios, etc. It's a whole different world, isn't it?
I had a go in a very early Singer, and I think they have changed so much since then. It was one of the first UK ones.
Yeah, they were 3.8 at that point.
And that actually felt quite similar to my GT3 RS.
Okay, yeah.
I was kind of like, ooh, this is quite... It's a bit like my GT3 RS, but looks kind of older, you know?
Yeah. And one thing that I think is amazing about those cars, and you've owned a classic 911, is you can park it anywhere.
Yeah.
And no one knows what it is because it's just an old Porsche, especially around London.
Totally.
It's quite nice to be under the radar.
Yeah, just cruise under. And then you'll get a certain amount of nerds or whatever that will love it. But that's cool. It is a nerd's proposition. And they look good. 5-car garage.
Okay.
Unlimited value.
I said I'd think about this yesterday.
You
didn't actually think about it. So obviously Get Lost in its final form, Project Safari, whatever that ends up being as a production.
Iteration number, whatever, by the time that...
Yeah, just because for fun factor, it's hilarious. And I kind of have to say that, obviously.
Obviously.
I wouldn't be making it if I didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
I'm going to chuck in a daily straight away.
Yeah.
Probably in the UK, McCann GTS, because they just do everything well.
Yeah.
And it can tow, which would be nice.
Yeah. Do you do a lot of towing at the moment?
Yeah, stupid amount of towing. I've got a McCann diesel, which is actually very good, but it's racking up the miles.
Yeah.
And it's booked in for a transfer box next week. So nice. Living up to the reputation just after the warranty ran out.
When's the new... Because there's the EV version.
They're still making the old...
But it's still the old one, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's still 10 years old or...
Yeah, they've facelifted it over time, but yeah.
You get in and it's the same like dash kind of...
Oh no, it's quite... They facelifted it in 21, I think.
Has it got DigiDash now?
Not fully, not like a Taycan.
Yeah.
But the centre is nice big screen as opposed to my little one. But yeah, you don't get an awful lot for your money. So that's 2.
Yeah.
I've always been a McLaren F1 person.
Yeah. Would you still have F1?
I mean, it's not real money. So,
or would you have T50?
To me, the F1 looks a lot better.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're both amazing. I think also, interestingly, have you been in an F1?
I've been in a passenger, yeah.
The induction noise on an F1 is hilarious and ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking away from the T50 because the T50 is one of the best engines ever in a car.
Yeah.
But the induction noise in an F1 is like you've put your head in an E46 CSL's airbox. So it probably still is F1. Caterham 620R.
Oh, yeah.
Because...
Mad.
Yeah, but also it's just an experience for when you want that experience.
Yeah.
I'm going to be driving this F1 a lot with this garage, aren't I?
You've got your mechanic, you need to.
Yeah.
So you've got quite a few like take for 45 minutes or Croatia, but like blast, set yourself on fire. I quite like that.
It probably. Well, to be fair, I would, if money was no object, I'd take an F1 on a road trip because it's got all the luggage space you could possibly need.
True.
My current best option for a road trip is my Exige. So
yeah, plenty more space.
Yeah. So
you've got one more.
It probably does need a GT car, and it probably needs something really skiddable. I mean, a 911 ST is up there, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I quite like modern creature comforts in reality. Or, to be fair, maybe an RS, because actually I quite like a PDK.
Yeah. Less boot space though.
True.
You have got the roof, behind the seats.
I'd do a roof box.
Okay.
There's plenty of space to put it to the wing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll change my mind in 5 minutes if we keep talking about it. So yeah, we'll go with that today.
Good little selection. Have you seen the pictures of whatever it's going to be? I think it's the GT2 RS. It's like wider than the RS. What's the horsepower? It's going to be. It's
like 550 on a
something.
GT3 RS.
Yeah.
So
it's I keep seeing people comparing, and it's like the GT3 RS is the biggest like two fingers up to any other manufacturer's sports car crazy because it's got 500 and whatever horsepower and it's faster around the Nürburgring or any track.
It doesn't really make much sense how quick it is.
It doesn't.
But it's about gearing and usability of that power, isn't it, clearly? And also
puts it down.
Grip. Like the 991 onwards, to me, almost felt a bit underpowered with the 3RS because there is so much rear end grip.
Yeah. And
you have to drive like a bit of an idiot to be sliding them about.
Yeah.
Or on a track with enough space where you can feel that limit of grip.
Yeah.
It's actually something I don't necessarily enjoy as much about cars like that is the speeds at which things start to move about.
Yeah.
You just can't enjoy it on the road.
No.
And it's really antisocial.
I even find that like my RS is on Cup 2s and on a hot day it's got so much grip. So much. And that's nothing like 991, 992, even more.
So I've put worse tyres on my Exige. I've put Nankang NS2Rs, which A, are half the price of Cup 2s. So that means I can use them twice as quickly.
Yeah.
And B, just admittedly in the rain on the way here, they weren't fantastic, but nor is a Cup 2.
Yeah.
It's just the limit of grip is a bit lower and it's less wear on the car. It's more fun. And they've got a stiffer sidewall, so the feel is actually better as well. So
better all round.
Yeah.
I would love to do an afternoon where you could like swap out 4 different sets of tires and just drive them around the roads and whatever and be like, actually, this is where I want to be. Do I want a 4S? Do I want a 4? Do I want a Cup 2? Whatever, like, and then just actually try it all, because it's easy to sort of go, well, I think I want a bit of this, but until you try it, you don't know whether. The
other thing is, it's in reality, it's not fantasy money.
Yeah.
And when you're having to spend an extra 40 grand for the RS badge, obviously there's a lot of engineering and it's a better car. But actually, things like Spider RS, I'd probably have the Spider for the more normal roof.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd want the engine and I'd probably end up modifying it, but...
Yes, different experiences, different things. Right. Well, thanks very much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. It's been a fun one. Lots to talk about.
And who knows, maybe the next time you come on, you'll be a few more years and maybe a few models, who knows?
And we won't be damaging wheel arches as we pull onto your driveway.
Well, hopefully if you did it in a different place,
yes,
a different drive. Right. Thanks very much.